If you are going to try for a job, if you are trying for a job and there is huge demand in the market currently for this complete fabric, if you are learning only Power BI, you may not get the opportunities. Okay, all right. So in the previous sessions we have discussed about what exactly a Microsoft fabric, and I have explained very clearly about my introduction and what is Power BI, Microsoft Fabric, Azure Data Engineering, what kind of people are trying to learn this course, like some people who are already working on the IT with some experience, some people who are working in non-IT currently and they have some experience, now they want to move to IT, and some people having a career gap, and some people having a are a freshers. Okay, so these kind of people are trying to learn this Microsoft Fabric. So if you are learning Microsoft Fabric, you can apply for a job like a data engineering or a data analysis or a data science over here. Total three things we can able to apply for the jobs. With this Microsoft Fabric environment, we can able to do total three things. Data engineering, Azure data engineering; for data analysis, Power BI; for data science, earlier we were using machine learning studio. Now they are combined all these three into single place, that is Microsoft Fabric. So to log into this Microsoft Fabric, you need to goes to this cloud website over here, that is www.app.powerbi.com over here. Microsoft Fabric environment, there is like a www.app.powerbi.com. This is a SaaS platform. What do you mean by SaaS platform? Software as a service. That means every software services, you no need to install anything in your local computer. Let's, for example, this is a Microsoft Fabric. That means Microsoft company is going to manage in the backend some data centers. Through their data centers, all the software services whichever we have inside this fabric which it is offering, you can able to access those softwares already installed in the backend somewhere, those softwares already installed in the backend in a data center. This is one data center. Okay, this is one data center and this is another data center. Okay, so inside these data centers already the softwares are already installed. Then what you need to do is simply from your computer, by logging to your web browser, you are able to access by logging to this portal all the softwares whichever is required. What is that software we are going to use it over here? It's going to be www.app.powerbi.com, www.app.powerbi.com over here. So by using this one, we can able to perform the things over here. By using this one, we can able to log in inside this portal and we can able to create all the softwares. Okay, what exactly we are going to implement by using this Microsoft Fabric? Let's take one scenario over here. Let's take one scenario over here. The scenario is, for example, I have a supermarket. uh, the supermarket, I have a supermarket. This is one supermarket, this is another supermarket. Daily customers will come to these supermarkets. Daily customer will come to supermarket. In every supermarket I have some billing counters. This is one billing counter, this is another billing counter. This is supermarket 1, supermarket 1. This is another supermarket, supermarket 2. When you are going to buy a product, immediately when you are buying the product, the data will be stored in the backend somewhere in a database servers. The transactions data will be saved in the backend over here. The data will be saved in the backend database over here. Supermarket 1 and supermarket 2. The backend, it might be a SQL server, or it might be a Oracle server, or sometimes some data might be saved somewhere in a cloud. It might be a Azure, it might be a Microsoft Azure, or AWS, or GCP cloud environment also. The business data I can save in these three different locations. Okay, so daily whenever there is a business is going to be happening, the data is going to be saved in the backend database over here. Data is going to be saved in the backend somewhere in a storage servers. Okay, now what exactly we have to do, what a data engineer is going to do, what a data analyst is going to do. Whatever the data you have in different locations, in different formats. Different formats means the data might be in a uh, file formats, and the data in a databases, tables, whatever, wherever. You need to consolidate all the data from different formats and different locations into one single particular location. So Microsoft Fabric also contains some storage related services. So we are going to first consolidate that entire data into this Microsoft Fabric environment. We have one of the service, that is Lake House. We have a Lake House. In this Lake House, we are going to in this Lake House we are going to implementing of these things over here. In this Lake House, we are going to store the data coming from this SQL server, coming from this Oracle, coming from this Azure, AWS, GCP, or whatever it is. So by using some ETL tool, what do you mean by ETL? ETL stands for ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading of the data over here. ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. ETL process. To do this ETL process, inside this Microsoft Fabric, we have one of the software service, that is Data Factory service. By using this Data Factory service, we are going to develop some ETL pipelines to move the data from this Oracle, this SQL server, this Azure, AWS, GCP, or whatever the cloud into one particular centralized location, that is a lake house. Inside this lake house, we are going to saving of our data in terms of the files over here. Inside this lake house, we are going to saving of our data like a file format. Your source data might be in any format, whether it is SQL Server, Oracle, or Azure, AWS, or GCP. We are going to have all my data in a lake house in terms of the files we are going to save it over here. Perfect. So this data factory tool we are using to ingest the data from external sources. External sources anywhere, not only SQL Server, Oracle, or Azure, AWS, or GCP. There are almost 200 plus data sources it is supporting over here. Almost 200 plus data sources it is supporting currently in the market. So from those 200 plus data source systems, you can able to bring the data by using this data factory service over here. So this data factory service is a ETL service. Lakehouse service is a storage service. Let me show you first these two services inside this app.powerbi.com over here. If you want to develop any project related to Fabric, you need to log into the app.powerbi.com. So inside you need to have one email address to log in. So that is app.powerbi.com. Inside this app.powerbi.com, let's go to the workspaces. Under this workspace, you can able to create any of the workspace, or if you want to see the softwares which you want, simply go inside any of one workspace. Workspace is nothing but a folder. You also can create one workspace. Let me go inside the workspace which we already created, and here you can see whenever you want to create, what do you want to create? Do you want to create a data factory, or do you want to create a lake house? Simply create new item over here. Here you can see there is a data factory. Azure data factory service is there over here. Mount an ADF into Fabric. See, there is a data factory. Or if you want a lake house, see, there is a lake house is there. So this is how whichever the software service you want, simply you can able to create that software service over here. Create that software service. So there is a lake house, there is a ETL service over here. There is a ETL, there is a lake house over here. So this is how we are going to have the two things. One is the ETL, another one is the lake house, data factory and lake house. Okay. Once your data you are ingesting, once your data you are ingesting into a lake house, then after what you are going to do, this data I want to move into another service, that is data warehousing. So whichever the data you are first consolidating into the staging layer of the lake house, from there we are going to moving of the data into another service, that is a warehouse over here. Warehouse. All right. So how to move the data from this lake house to warehouse? Why are you moving the data from lake house to warehouse? Lake house is a files storage. Your data is going to be stored in the file format. But warehouse is a database format. You can create like a database, and you can save the data like a tables over here. Database and tables. In between this lake house and warehouse, how you are going to move the data? By using a tool, data flow gen 2 tool. Okay, by using a data flow gen 2 tool over here. So by using this data flow gen 2 tool, we are able to performing of the data transfers between the lake house to warehouse. But one thing over here, under this data flow gen 2, what you need to do is, it will, you are going to apply some transformations as well. Not only the data flow you are doing, you are going to do some transformation techniques also. We are going to apply it over here. We are going to extracting, and we are going to apply the transformations, and we are going to loading of the data over here. We are going to applying of the transformations also over here. We are going to apply some transforming of the data as per the business requirement as well. Why we are applying the transformations over here? Because in between, from our source to lake house, when I'm moving the data, I don't apply any transformations. I'm just dumping or ingesting the data from my source into lake house. When I'm moving from lake house to warehouse, then I am going to apply the data cleaning, transformation, processing, everything we are doing in between the lake house to warehouse, in between only. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to do and why I'm doing all these things over here. Okay, once your data is coming to the warehousing, then the next step what we are going to do, whatever the tables we have inside this warehouse, right? By using all those tables, we are going to applying of the transformation. We are going to designing of the modeling over here. Okay, we are going to designing of the data modeling. That means whatever the list of tables you have in your warehouse, right? By taking those tables you can able to create relationships between the tables. Why we need a relationships between the tables? If you don't have a relationships, you cannot create the uh, interactive reports. So here we need to develop a data modeling over here. Data modeling. All right. So once your data modeling is ready, then finally what we are going to do, we are going to designing some reports and dashboards by using Power BI. The end goal of this project is the end goal of this project is by using Power BI we can able to design it over here. By using Power BI, so we are going to use some reports and dashboards over here by using Power BI. So those reports can be shared to the customers over here. So we have some customers, right? For those customers, we are going to sharing of these reports and dashboards over here. This is what the flow we are going to implementing by using this fabric cloud environment. So inside the fabric we have a data factory, we have a lake house, we have a warehouse, we have a option to create a data modeling, we have option to design the Power BI as well. So you just imagine in this entire flow, what is the part of Power BI you have? Power BI part is 25 percentage. Remaining 75 percentage you have this data factory ETL, this lake house, this warehouse, this modeling, this Power BI, and we have a data flow gen 2 as well. So what are all the key things you need to learn as a part of this Microsoft Fabric is you need to understand very clearly about the storage services like a lake house and a warehouse, and we have a data factory data factory, and we have a data flow gen 2, and we have a uh, data engineering like a data bricks notebooks. Okay, we have a notebooks as well. So where exactly this data bricks notebook we are using? Here you can see in between lake house to warehouse, when you are transforming the data, which tool you are using? Data flow gen 2. That is like a zero coding tool, because when you are using zero coding means drag and drops, there we have very limited number of transformations. But when you are coming to this Databricks notebooks with a Spark, here you can able to write down uh, many customized transformation techniques. This also you can able to use to do the ETL process over here. So we are going to learn data bricks notebooks and data modeling techniques, and finally we are going to learn Power BI. These are the core components of the eh, Microsoft Fabric. These are the core components of the Microsoft Fabric. If you want to become a Fabric developer, and if you want to apply for the jobs like a data engineer or a data analyst, who is a data analyst? The person, whoever is going to design the data modeling and whoever is going to designing of this Power BI reports, that person is called that person we are calling it as a data analyst. Okay, the person whoever is going to developing the data factory ETL and lake house services, that person we are calling him as a uh, whatever the data flows and notebook Spark warehousing lake house, These things, whoever is going to work, that person we are calling it as a data engineer over here. So the person whoever is going to work on these services, we are calling him as a data engineer. Data engineer. The person whoever is going to work on these things, data modeling and Power BI, we are calling him as a, this person we are calling him as a data analyst. So now you will get a question. So can I learn only data analysis part, or can I learn only data engineer part? You should learn both, because nowadays the companies are expecting more. If you are only specific to a data analysis, or if you are only specific to a data engineer, then if someone is coming for interview with this both the skills, data engineering skill and data analysis skill, then what will happen? If someone is coming with the both the skills, then definitely he has more priority, because the person is going to provide end to end solution. Whoever having this end to end solution throughout this, from starting to ending, then obviously they are going to give priority to that guy only. Okay, so that is the reason, because of this competitive world, you should have more number of skills in your profile. If you have more number of skills, definitely you have a more probability to get the job over here. I hope it's clear for everyone so far what we discussed. Can you please confirm yes in the chat? If you guys are clear, then say yes. If you have any question, you can send me the question, like what confusion you have in this. This is a flow of the project also, what I'm going to implement going forward over here. Okay, this is the project we are going to implement going forward as well. Okay, the next thing is about like a the next thing is about like a to implement all these software services. You need to, I told you right, you need to log into this www.app.powerbi.com. There is another website, www.fabric.microsoft.com. What is that website over here? Do you have any website with fabric.microsoft.com? I don't think. Let's verify. So someone is telling, sir, we have another website, www.fabric.com. What exactly it is? We don't have any www.fabric.microsoft.com. Okay, let's see. Fabric. See, even this Microsoft Fabric means it's an app.powerbi.com only. What the Microsoft is doing, they were using the existing app.powerbi.com cloud platform only to developing of the things over here. Existing app.powerbi.com only we are going to use to do this one over here. Okay, now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to, for example, when I'm going to use services inside this Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Fabric, what are the major benefits over here? The major benefits of this, the major benefits of this thing is, this is going to be like it's a one single platform for end-to-end business intelligence solution we can able to provide with the Microsoft Fabric. That is one major advantage. The second advantage also, the costing point of view, they are not going to charge service to service. Okay, the costing of this Microsoft Fabric has divided into two parts. One is about storage cost and processing cost. Let's, for example, this is Microsoft Fabric. Inside this Microsoft Fabric, there are few storage related services. There are few ETL related services over here. There are few storage related services. There are few storage related services. There are few ETL processing related services. So the charges will be two ways based on how much data you are storing, how much data storage. How much data means per GB, per GB storage. Per GB, how much data you are storing over here. They are going to charge per month, per GB, some amount. Then after any ETL or any Power BI report services, they are going to charge based on the performance level you are choosing. There are different kind of performances available. If let me show you Fabric pricing. Microsoft Fabric pricing details. See here. So there are different kind of plans we have. F2 plan, F4 plan, F8, F16, F32, F64, F128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048. Based on that plan what you are choosing, there are two types. Pay as you go. That means based on the usage, based on the usage, you can pay. Or reservation. Reservation means initially you can choose this amount. So monthly they will charge this 13,372, 41% saving. This is pay as you go. Pay as you go means if you are using, then only it will charge. If you are using, then only it will charge. Otherwise, it will not charge any amount from you. Okay. And also per GB, how much amount it is charging? 1 rupee 9674 is the cost for GB. Okay. Based on the data, how much data you are storing per GB, they are going to charge per month. Per month, 1 GB storage cost 1 rupee 96. They are going to charge it over here. So this pricing details, everything will be counted and calculated according to this plan what you are choosing over here. See, one thing I want to tell you guys, Microsoft Fabric environment, in the backend it will use Microsoft Azure only. You understand? Microsoft company already having one infrastructure. Got it? Microsoft company already having one infrastructure, that is Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure. Technically, the data will be stored in the backend, the data centers which Microsoft Azure is managed. So you are a customer using Microsoft Fabric. This is a Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric. In this Microsoft Fabric environment, technically, when you are login to use the software services, backend it will use Microsoft Azure only, and the data centers which we have in the backend, it will use those data centers. So where we are going to organizing of this storage and plants and everything inside the Microsoft Azure only. This is all in the back end. This is all in the back end. As a developer, you are not going to use these things. As a user, you are not going to use these things. You are logging to Microsoft Fabric only, and you are going to create only these services only. You are not going to log in over here. But why Microsoft is building two clouds when there is already Microsoft Azure? Why there is a Microsoft Fabric? Because they want to make more flexible to the customers. They are just dividing only business intelligence ETL storage services into separate platform. Data engineering and data analysis, these platforms they were going to make into separate environment over here. Separate such platform they are going to create it over here. Okay, right. So now where we are going to create for the login. So if you want to log into Microsoft Fabric, what is Microsoft Fabric? It's nothing but a app.powerbi.com. Okay, if you want to log into app.powerbi.com, what we are going to do, how to log into this, what things needed to log into this app.powerbi.com. You need one email address. So we need for practicing purpose we need some subscription, right? Whenever you are going to practice, you need a subscription to log in. So for practicing purpose, you should have a login to this app.powerbi.com. So I will show you tomorrow in the next session how to create this login password email address for this app.powerbi.com, which I have signed in over here. See here, there is a rom at the rate e classes data analysis on Microsoft.com. So this account we are going to create in the tomorrow session. So when you are going to implement this project, is it going to be handled by one person? No. There are multiple people are there. They are sharing of the work. For example, if you are working on ETL, someone will work on this data flow. If you are working on Power BI, someone will working on the ETL. So this is how we are going to sharing of the work over here. Okay. So in the next session, what I can do, I am going to showing you how to create this Microsoft Fabric account. How to create a login to this one to creating of this software services. Okay. Any questions on today's session? Then you can ask the questions by raising your hands. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Vali, Madhusudan, Prasad, Sushma, Tejas?
Hi. Hi. Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, Tejas.
I just want to confirm that you will going to cover first data engineering part, correct?
Yes,
After that, you will going to cover Power BI.
exactly. I will go in this flow only.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.